Hi there, guys. Welcome back to the Joy of Awareness. My name is Tolly Bryn, coming to you from Kashmir in the north of India. And you'll have to forgive me. My lighting that I usually use isn't working well. I needed to plug it in, so lighting's not so good. And also, I have to apologize because I am here lying in bed. Don't worry, I'm not sick or anything. It's just that it's pretty cold here, honestly. Like, I've got the heater on and it's still really cold and it's just so humid, and like there's no sort of internal heating in the house, even though it's a really nice guest house that I'm staying in, that you get this like chill to the bone kind of thing that you feel. The only places I felt it really is in Ireland when I stayed there for 4 days, and in Scotland as well during the winter. It's just, the heating's not excellent and the insulation's obviously not very good either. And just the humidity makes it so that it's colder inside than outside. And that's something that I've never really experienced at home, because obviously back home in Iceland we have this awesome thing called geothermal heat, which we use to heat basically all of our houses all the time. So I guess that's something you might call a first world problem, but anyway. I do actually have right now a heated blanket, like an electric blanket. That's the reason why I'm just laying in bed, and the reason why I wanted to make this video in bed. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The video I wanted to make today is it's coming to being because I remember many months back there was a guy who asked me about my experience with the Vipassana retreats that I did when I was younger. So basically, I mentioned it in a video somewhere that I had done a few retreats like that. And for those who don't know, the Vipassana retreats, I just can't remember the name of the organization, but I think they call themselves like Dhamma Wheel or something like that. They have these courses all over the world, free of charge, like they run it on a volunteer basis and a donation basis, and it's basically a 10-day course or retreat that you stay at, and you're expected to work, as in you're expected to do deep inner work in the form of meditation and contemplation, and you take a vow of silence during the 10 days also, and you eat a very simple and healthy vegetarian fare the whole time as well. And if you're coming back as an old student, or that is to say a student who's done already one retreat, then you have to skip dinner also, and you get lemon water instead of 2 pieces of fruit, which you would have gotten as a student. So it's not really dinner per se, but anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. And they have a specific meditation technique that they teach you and ask you to follow, which is incredibly interesting. And how it's done is, and what I found kind of weird about it was that this guy SN Goenka, who kind of started the whole thing, he's obviously basing his teachings of Vipassana on the Buddha's original teachings, and it's a series of recorded videos of this guy telling you about the technique, about all various kind of stories about Buddhism or from Buddhism and from the Buddha himself. And also during the meditations or before the meditations, there's a recording of Goenka explaining the technique, doing chants and all kinds of things. And for the most part, I really enjoyed it, or enjoy is maybe not the correct word, but I thought it was really, really interesting, and I really got a lot out of it. I was going to say something else, but I think I'll come to that later on. Basically, the person who was asking me in the comments about my Vipassana, my Vipassana experience, when I read that first, I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. Somebody wants me to talk about that, and I just kind of didn't really seem that important to me for whatever reason. But now, like, or maybe this was like a year ago. It's quite a while ago since this person asked me if I had a video on that. Um, and to be honest, at that time, I hadn't been really thinking about Vipassana or meditation or much of that nature apart from some very lightweight stuff for quite a while, for like 2 years or something like that. And this has been a strange pattern with me ever since I became an adult. I had this really, really strong, strong calling to spiritual practices. Uh, I always had like this weird edge to my personality that I can't really explain. I don't know exactly what it is, and I think it has more to do with my upbringing and various things that I went through as a child, more than anything else. I don't think it's like something I was born with necessarily, although it may be, I don't know. But there's always been this part of me that really seeks out extreme experiences, which is part of the reason why I'm traveling in in Kashmir at the moment. There's soldiers all around, soldier outposts. There's danger of protests, and there's nobody. Like, I haven't seen any other foreigners, apart from, well, actually, yes, today I saw like a family, three European looking people, for the first time. I've been here for 4 days, and it's basically just locals and a few domestic tourists. Nobody else is really here, looks like. Um, and many would consider this very sort of extreme tourism to go solo into something like that. But for me, somehow, I just seek it out. The same thing can be said about, doing those Vipassana retreats. All the travel that I've done throughout the world, I've done mostly alone, and met some awesome people doing it. It's not that I'm shy or introverted to the extent that I don't want to travel with other people. It's not that. Absolutely not. It's that I seek out experiences that sort of mash up my sense of reality, if that makes sense. The same can be said for the period of time in my life where I did a lot of psychedelics, a lot of psychedelic mushrooms. I was doing that quite regularly for 3 or 4 years, like huge doses. And when I was telling people about the doses that I was taking, they were like, "What? What are you doing? Why would you do that?" And it's what's called heroic doses. And looking back, it was kind of stupid, I think, like taking huge amounts of substances into your system. You're running a risk of doing some irreversible damage, and I see that now, and I wouldn't say that I regret it. I think it's not done me any long-term damage, thankfully. Not that I'm not obviously recommending that. Sorry, my nose is kind of runny and my hands are freezing. It's just this this place is so cold, but I love it though. It's a really cool place also. I'll make a video in the future, hopefully in the near future. I just don't have any editing software on my computer for whatever reason right now, so I haven't been putting in, like, I've been doing a lot of recordings of the surroundings here, and the beautiful mountains, the beautiful nature, and also the chaotic streets here. It's all so interesting for a guy from Iceland like me. So I'm gonna make a video in the near future where I show you some of the clips of the places I'm going. But for now, you'll have to make do with me lying in bed, like telling you about meditation. Um, but where was I? Oh yeah. So basically, I've had this streak to my personality since before I can remember, and I don't know how to explain that, but that is something that has pushed me into doing all kinds of weird things throughout the years. And I've found that generally I'm a very polarizing person to people that I meet. Um, I I also have a kind of I've become a lot. No, how should I say this? I've developed social skills a lot since I was a young adult, to the point where I feel like now I'm not as my personality doesn't polarize people as much as it used to. But it was very characteristic in my past that people I met and really got to know me, they either just really disliked me or they really liked me. And I never really thought about it that much until now in later years. And of course, there's a lot of people who are like that, and that's not really a rare personality trait per se, but it is definitely something that's characterized my personality for a long time. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is basically because this trait has pushed me into all kinds of strange situations. One of them being these Vipassana retreats. There seems to be something in me that allows me to go into these weird situations without realizing that other people might find them weird. And not that that doesn't really matter to me how other people experience it. But it is always interesting to me when I tell people about my travels, when I tell them about, these retreats or my trips or whatever it is that I'm talking about. I'm always surprised by how weird or how unusual it is. But basically, I did that first retreat in Spain when I was 21, I believe. Then I did two more in the following 3 or 4 years. One in Holland, Dils Stockholm, and the other in Tuscany, in Italy. And the second two were actually I was volunteering. I wasn't a student per se. I was volunteering, which means that I was working in the kitchen. I was both washing dishes and cooking food. And they had a strict regimen of 3 hours per day of meditation in between. And they don't have the vow of silence there because obviously the workers have to be able to speak between themselves. And it's a different experience. And the final time that I went there, I got such a weird cultish vibe from that specific group that I was working in. I hadn't felt it before, but that time I was just like, maybe I was just getting tired of the whole thing or something. I don't know. So I kind of finished that course and then I kind of left it behind me for a long time, but continued in following various kinds of meditation uh, schedules or routines, you might say, or techniques. Vipassana being the sort of the technique that had developed the most at that point. But I was just incredibly interested in understanding the various types of meditation that I could do, the various effects that it would have on me. One of the most sort of memorable periods that when I think back to my experiences with meditation is a period of, I believe it was about 100 days, where I did 2 hours of, I can't remember the name for it in Vipassana, but it's like strong determination sittings, which is basically you sit and you don't move at all. And if you haven't tried it before, you can try it. In about 10 or 15 minutes, you'll start to realize why this is a difficult form of meditation. And the main thing that you'll realize when you're sitting cross-legged for 10 or 15 minutes without moving a muscle is that you'll start to feel varying degrees of discomfort. Limbs will start falling asleep. You'll start feeling like weird stretches in weird places, weird aches and pains, and your knees will start to hurt a little bit maybe, and your back as well. And instead of giving in to that impulse to like, I gotta move around, gotta change, gotta lift this, gotta move that, instead of doing that, you simply sit with the sensation of the pain. The next level of that meditation is actually seeing the impulse to move for what it is. Because you see, my battery's at 15%. I hope I can finish the video. Maybe I'll just finish it quickly. Or maybe I'll do it in 2 parts or something. You'll start to see the impulse to run away from the pain for what it is, which is an impulse. It's not, you're not actually, and this is where it gets kind of weird, you're not actually in danger, although you kind of are. You're sitting and your body is worrying, like, oh, if I sit like this and it gets more and more painful and stretches more and more, then maybe it'll be permanent damage and I can't move my legs or whatever. There are good reasons for your body calling out for you to not sit in the exact same position for hours on end, obviously. But it teaches you so much to actually see and understand what is going on behind these impulses, behind these thoughts, behind these emotions that come up. And I remember something that I just had no idea how to understand when it was said in the Vipassana meditation retreats. Goenka was talking about watching these things arise and dissipate, and that these were, and I can't remember the word he used for them. It's been a while since I went there, but he spoke about them sort of like impurities that were being purified. And I was like, that's bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. But now I've been exploring various kinds of trauma release techniques, such as the letting go technique by David Hawkins and the presence process as well by Michael Brown. And it struck me that they're talking about the exact same thing. They're talking about sitting with the feelings, with the sensations, with the subsequent emotions, sitting with them, being with them, feeling them completely, and letting them go permanently. And that the first time I read about that or heard about that, I was also like, that's kind of silly. That doesn't make any sense. That's some woo shit. But then, I started really working with it, continuing what I had learned with Vipassana, and really, really working with the method. And I discovered that, this is exactly what's happening. These are just 2 different ways of saying the exact same thing. And it was just so strange to me to realize that. Goenka is the guy who started or founded the Vipassana retreats. He constantly spoke about this being the original method that the Buddha actually rediscovered from a way more ancient method that had been used for a long time and then forgotten for thousands of years and then rediscovered by the Buddha. And that was the tradition of Vipassana that he's teaching here. And I was like, okay, wow, that's really cool. It's like this ancient practice that he's teaching us and all this. And he was saying, like, this is the way to enlightenment, to overcoming dukkha or suffering. I was like, okay, I was just this, young kid. I didn't really know what I was learning, what was going on, what is actually possible with this. And now seeing it from this completely different, and more, obviously more Western perspective, the letting go method, for instance, it's a way more sort of Westernized concept, I would say, but it's exactly the same. And I just found it so amazing once that clicked to me that I was actually doing Vipassana anyway. I was just seeing it in a completely different light. So I think, let me just check. Yeah, my phone is almost dead, so I'm just gonna end this video here. I hope you gained some valuable insights from this. Like always, I'm doing my best to share some awesome insights, as always. It's what this life is about, it's just traveling to weird places and gathering those insights. Got your insight pickaxe there. Don't know what I'm saying now. I think I'm a bit tired and maybe some hypothermia or something. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm good. Anyway, if you're interested, I'm staying here in Srinagar in Kashmir for another 4 days, I think. Then I'm headed to Amritsar further south. I think Amritsar it's still in Jammu and Kashmir province, or in Himachal Pradesh, I can't remember. But then after that, I'm going to Rishikesh, where I'll be staying for a month. I don't know how easy it'll be for me to like record videos and stuff there. I'm gonna try my best, but basically I'm studying. Yeah, I'll be doing some hatha and ashtanga yoga there, and I think it'll be pretty cool, or I hope so. Hope I'll learn a lot of cool stuff. Going to teach me a lot of yogic philosophy as well. And again, like I said in the last video, one of the main reasons that I want to do stuff like this, like do this yoga course, even though, you know, it's a yoga teacher training course, I'm not really that interested in actually teaching yoga. I just want to understand yoga better. I want to understand what it is, what it stands for, and gather those insights, you know. So after that, I'm thinking of I really want to go to Varanasi, even though that's like a 22-hour train ride from Rishikesh. Maybe I can just take a overnight bus to Delhi and then fly to Varanasi. I'll see. I would like to go there before I leave India, but honestly, I think, you know, 6, 7, 8 weeks in India is going to be enough for me. Like, this is a chaotic place. This is a crazy, crazy place. And as much as I've enjoyed it, as much as I've loved the food and for the most part met some really cool people, I am kind of looking forward to going a bit further to the east. I want to go to Thailand and Vietnam, go to some beaches and get some hopefully find some calmer places also. That's kind of the end goal for me for this trip, would be to find a awesome, beautiful, calm place in some, you know, beautiful natural environment, full of nice people. Not these touts like in Delhi where people are running after you. Oh, hello, my friend, I can tell you this or whatever. Like, I don't want that. I want to go somewhere, chill out, where I can do videos, keep writing, keep working on the stuff, and just meditate and do the yoga and exercise and all this stuff, all the good stuff. So I'm gonna do my best to make more videos. I'm trying to get more into the groove again of making videos, and, you know, ideally I'd like to make videos every day, but I'm still kind of getting used to being on the road again, so forgive me for that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe as always, and check out my books and my website, and hope to see you again soon, and much love from Kashmir. See ya.